Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, so apologies for the abrupt ending on a couple of my videos. Well, don't have a full explanation, but the camera seemed to have just gone off, so not quite sure why. All right, it didn't seem to exceed the minutes, but anyway, it's happened. So it also means that, of course, that I have to go back through what I was talking about or explaining to see how we can really get the full essence or the full juice, like I would say, about the subject matter. So again, exploring more on Mother Eve. I had not intended to go on so much, but if of course I do this in videos as I'm intuitively guided to do, and so I go with the flow because that's what Mother Eve is about, flow. And when we don't go with the flow, this is when we really get the other end of the stick, so to speak. That's the rod. We get knocked with the rod. The rod then through that knock turns into the serpent, and then we get stung and so on. And well, there's a lot to it, but that it's all about the aspect of the learning process. It's all about the learning process and what we are meant to be learning. So I was talking about Mother Eve and looking at how Adam and Eve, of course, gets together in understanding the function of Mother Eve overall. So when we look at on the template, the sacrifice template, I seem to have my board. Okay, 1 minute. So on the sacrifice template, as we could see when we are out of the sack, and of course we are on number 4, which is the 4-point hair, the 4 points. We are then really getting our orientation of purpose, if you like. Well, why am I here, and so on, and we go we begin to ask those questions, which really probes us to look in different direction. And it's by asking that question, what's my purpose here, why am I here, and so on, that we begin to notice new doors are opening and we are exploring, of course. So that's what getting orientation is about. So from 1 to 4, this is where we are doing Adamic. So some time ago I was tempted to use that word Adamic, and I didn't realize that it really does exist till I came across a video. And it's funny how this is how synchronicities happen. It would seem to have happened just the day after I was tempted to use it, and I thought, oh, I was gonna use a word, but yeah, so I'm glad that it does exist, and it seems like it's something I would know, but that's how it is. We don't know everything, and basically admitting to things I don't know. Okay, but it's good. So we are doing Adamic right there, but or Adamic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly now, but there we also see, as in the AC middle hair, denoting the 23 pairs of chromosomes that we have, which makes up 46. And we see that this comes to 46. The word sacrifice also comes to 46. If we were to do this, which I have done, but it comes to 46. 4 plus 6 is 10. And so this is where we see, of course, the 10 comes here again. It's reflective there. So like 10, like Adam there. This is why it is said that Christ, or Jesus Christ, is the second Adam. Of course, the word Jesus Christ actually equals 7. And 7, of course, when we do the numerical value for 7, it is 20. That means that would be 2 10s. Let's just put it that way. That's where we're probably saying that everything. So Adam and Christ, or Christ is in Adam, let's put it this way. Just like I'm saying, God is within us. We are expressions of God right there. Okay. Oh, I could hear my voice changing now. Okay, so I was making a point in saying that on the other spectrum of the sacrifice template from numbers 5 to 8, we saw that it equals 8, or even 5 to 9 still equals 8. So we see the number 8 is in Mother Eve's mouth. This is what Mother Eve is about, to teach us how to eat. This is what mothers do, the primary caregiver. So this is the caregiver of our spiritual world. Of course, we tend to feel that typically as children that we should be protected all the time. We should not be or in as much as we want to venture out and climb ladders and jump from heights and all those things, we seem to feel that it's, you know, it's okay to do that, yet still we feel we want to be protected. If the parent who has the oversight or insight or foresight rather to see the danger, we still want to say, oh no, I want to do it myself. We still want to go and explore. But having allowed ourselves or permitting ourselves to do that in any way whatsoever, it does not really take the unconditional love that is being conveyed to us through Mother Eve. So Mother Eve, of course, like a loving mother, allows us to go through our Garden of Eden, doing our explorations and eating whatever fruits, showing us how to eat it. And of course, we feel we want to know how to do it by ourselves, but Mother Eve is there, and this is why she calls us, continue to call us, to show us how. So basically in the it's like what there's a picture I'm picking up here, and in the Adamic stage, Mother Eve is also central too in the ark, the AC. I call it the ark. Of course, we would see ARC for ark, or ARCS for arcs right there, which would also denote acts in that sense. I'm just looking at this, which gives me the opportunity to see the numerical value for that arc here, which would be, let's hear, this would be 9 plus 3 is 12, 13, 14. So we see that that would actually mean 14. That's interesting. This is the word sacrifice that came to us as an intuitive message, or an intuitive cue to understanding the scriptures. It was really about the sacrifice of Christ. So now we see that I'm not sure I did this before. So this is denoting 14. So in essence, Mother Eve is very present here in this sack, or this like crack, like CRA, or okay, I'm just perhaps just trying to make more sense of this, or what other words it could form. Okay, however, in this area now we can see how Mother Eve, as in these terms here, is really Mother Eve, and here we have with the numbers is 10, showing Father Adam, as in the 14 right there. So basically, I had not discovered this bit before. The SACR, which is 9, 3, 1, 1, when added together, 12, 13, 14. This equals 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. So when we do add 1, 2, 3, 4 together, of course, we see that this is 6 and 4 is 10. So we have 1 plus 5 equals 6, or 15. We could say 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 is still 6. Now this 6 here, which is what I really wanted to end on. Okay, before we even move on, we see 15 here, which is what I didn't get to explain in the last video. Hoping that you also watch that. But 15 is new because this is the 5 column. Each letter has a value of 5, so 3 5s are 15. This is how we have 15 here. But of course 3 5s are 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. So this is why you may not notice this, but we have 6 underneath here, and we get the pattern of 369 369 369 right there. So here is there we have 6, and that is why it is said we are 6 is the number of man. Now, of course, I have spoken about 6 being the number of man. We are the experiment, the result of an experiment of 6 women, of 6 female, and there could be more to all of this, but that's the this is why we are 6 women or 6 men. Of course, we say man. We can see all 6 women. This is why the story is of women or man, and then we all okay. The point I'm making here is that often when we speak of women, we don't associate the men attribute that they consist. So we just think of male. We don't think of male is actually an attribution or part of women. So that is something that we need to be mindful of. It is only meaning that the woman has the womb, is a man, but has the womb, has an additional part, which coincides as well with not only that she has the womb, there is a part of the woman, or the external, put it this way, the external openings that the woman, or the openings a woman has, she has an extra opening to the man. Hence again, the word open actually equals 5 as well. The other thing that that is very evident too is that would mean the woman has 10 openings, and the word 10 equals, the word 10 equals 3. Let's do this. I am just wishing that, oh, bear with me, I think I've got a pen that writes. Wow. Okay, there we go. Okay, yes, I've got another pen. So there we see that before I move on to the 10, I'm just going to make a note of the 10 here, which is 5 5 2. And so we see that the sack here, in the sack, or there's a word that this is R-A-C. Okay, there's a word coming apart from the sack, which has the R. So we see that Adam is, the Adamic stage is 14, which would also consist of Mother Eve as well, because it's evident here that when we do the numerical value here, and which I have always said that Christ is really Christ's teachings, or Christ was really Mother Eve in essence. So when people are saying that Christ was really of God, I really feel, well, there's a strong correlation there, but we need to get our concept of God inclusive, or including, or Mother Eve is included in that concept of God. This is what I feel is very important for us to learn right there, in the sense of, if for instance that Christ was to take on, or as we learn, took on mankind's ways and body and all of those things, to die, to show mankind how to live. This is in direct correlation with Mother Eve being cast to the ground, or as a serpent, being the wisest of all creatures, and we get that with even the story of Satan too, being cast from heaven to really now show us how to live, because this is about wisdom we are talking. We see in the story of Job, which I continue to make a reference, that Job and God were having very good conversations. They seem like buddies in, you know, well, where are you going? Oh, I'm just going to and fro, seeing who I could, you know, taunt today. You know, there's a partnership going on here. So the partnership is really like your head and your, okay, like heads and tails, you know, but two sides of the same coin, so to speak. Excuse me. So this is what is so important for us to bear in mind, and that is how we will be able to get a concept of the whole, and the concept of who we are as a whole, and how we are meant to operate. Okay, so basically we have seen how 15 actually also shows up. This is the first time I have been able to grasp this. I have always seen how the number 10 comes here in 1, 2, 3, 4 added together equals 10. I have always seen that and equals Adam. So we have seen that there, but I had not really extracted that wisdom here before. This is the wonderful thing that is happening too. So back to 10. So here we see that the first word that Mother Eve utters, or the first letter. So there we have the first word is let, L-E-T, when she says, let there be light. So we can see that Mother Eve being Adam here, right there together. So this is together. Let's see this. This is 3, 5, 2. Added together, this is 7 plus 3 is 10. So there we see how 10 is being reflected there. But Mother Eve, and it's important that we notice and pay attention to, this is why Mother Eve is the wisest of all creatures, and she can camouflage her nature. She is the waves, she is the ocean, she is water, she is electricity, she is the sounds that ripples, she is light, that the rays of light, she's the darkness, she's the light because the light came from the darkness. Mother Eve encapsulates all that we are. So when we write the word 10, we see right here it equals 12. This 12 here is really telling us that there's this is what I have been saying before. Whenever there's the 10, it denotes perfection. It actually equals the word perfect. Okay, I want to ensure that so P-E-R-F-E-C-T, which is 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 5, 7. Adding together 5, 10, 10 plus 15, 25, 30, 37. 3 plus 7 equals 10. Okay, so this is perfect. So this is why we say that God is perfect. The world he created, everything is perfect. But it's like nothing stays the same. So we are in motion in this perfection. All motion, all our activities is all part of this perfection. So when Mother Eve said, let there be light, and there was light, the word let was very perfect. It's a word that allows, it permits, it's ordained, it's giving, it's generous, it's nurturing, and there is so much to it. Okay, so but this is the most powerful thing that happened as well, that the first letter is of 3, which is just like 12. When we add 1 plus 2 together, we get 3. And we see it follows by 5 and 2. So it's like Mother Eve is saying there are 5 2s or 2 5s in whatever is happening here. I can't help but wonder about ET, how ET has come into that. So basically 3 is there. 3 is the petal flowers, the M, the E, the 3 and W. This is what it's about right there, and that forms 8. So that's where Mother Eve, of course, permits us to eat, because it is also 8. Okay. So we see how on the first part of the template, how here we really can make sense of what has happened here. Of course, we have the word revelation here. This is RE. I have not done this for a while because I'm feeling quite charged, to be honest, with the amount of information on this subject. But I like to call water and revelation into being. It's just to make sure that I can deliver, because there's a flood of information coming. So we have seen how 10 happens here, and how it's also 5 here. And if we were to encapsulate or add this or do the summary, we see we also have 15. So basically, Mother Eve and Adam both are reflecting in this part here. Now there's an if ice. I'm just trying to make sense here. There's a from here, when we add this, we see we get the number 8. Now, before I go on to this part again, the 15 again, 1 plus 5 is 6. As I say, I just want to make sure that we are in this 6. This is where we're at. Once we are there, it's a consciousness of realizing who you are when you get to that 6. Because you have done your orientation and you realize, yes, I am that I am, which equals 5, which really equals 5. You have your 5-pointed star. You are the 5-pointed star. You are the 5 senses. You are the 5 gods in Genesis of chapter 2, mentioned as the god of the planted god, or the God planted. It does not sound too right, but it is how we have been conditioned. It's the language we have known, but it's the God planted. It's like saying teacher, we would say teacher Blanchard, or teacher whatever. God is the title. So basically, is God planted, God caused, God breathed, God for the God formed. And there is another one for the I'm not sure if it's God blessed. It might have been God blessed again in the Genesis of chapter 2. Okay, but there are 5 gods there. Oh, so that's how now I am getting to understand the relationship with the 5 gods and the 9 gods of Genesis chapter 1. And actually, just as I kind of thought before, that the gods do work in partnership, but not all the gods have showed to be working with in partnership with another god, as stated. Of course, the gods consist of other gods. So for instance, the God who saw and the God who formed, I think, have a lot in common, because you could imagine the God is soaring to different shapes, and they both equal 7, and so this is the 2 7s, so it's like the 2 W. That's what forms the W. Okay, as you can see here, it would be like two U's or 2 7s really joined together. And that again is this symbol of wholeness right there. There is something else that I really want to point out here. So basically we have the 8 here that we were talking about, and that would be we have seen that is 18. Of course, all of this comes to 9, and that is the journey that we are meant to take. So Mother Eve is the one who is very present here, showing us again with the number 8 that we get to experience there. So she has offered Adam, she has shown Adam how to, of course, they were there during the developmental stage, but this is where the eating of the fruit really has taken place. And there's where one is being elevated. This is where we are called to be mature. So number 6, again, if we were to check the number 1 to 5 that you have acquired from your first test, so to speak, or your grounding, where you have become grounded, there you are becoming like a fox. So the word, the letters IF here to be descriptive, I would say, or if, or to be questioned, or to question. IF to say if. Of course, you could add 5 plus 6 together, which is 11. So you are faced with your mirror here. So you are a new creature. Of course, as I felt before that, the new creature was really the fox. I used to think the new creature is really the fox, but there it's really in itself. This is where Christ is saying everything you ask is already in itself. The answer to the question is already within. So it's really in the NEW by turning it upside down. So when we ask ourselves a question, I think it's a good technique to really look at the question itself and turn it in different angles, and we'll see that the new creature is really man. So you are no longer man. You get to the stage where you see yourself as a man. This is why at the end of the prayer we say amen. So this is the new creature. Then the new creature, as a creature, you're not only just looking at your head, as the head aspect of yourself as a coin and saying, oh well, I'm the head, like some people in the scripture says, oh, I'm the head and not the tail. Yes, I am the head and not the tail, but this is why after a while the tail comes to knock the head off and the head comes to actually bites the tail. Oh, of course, but there's a connection, there's a digestion. You are not that then. It's not to say I am not the tail, I am the head and not. Now, this is a not the tail. There is a way of this wording happening to say I am. It doesn't mean that the tail is it's external of who you are. It's that it's coming to the whole. It's really forming a whole. The whole, like the 8 in itself, when untwisted, it is a whole. It forms the whole. That's what it's about. So there we see that of course you find the fox attribute. So all of this here is really part of the men here. You are working in unison right here. You are being a fox. You are doing the gypsy journey. On your journey now, in fact today I was looking at the Fool in the Rider-Waite tarot card, and something really came clear to me, is that the Fool he's called a fool, that's okay, but he is on his journey. He has this bright outfit. He stimulates the minds of the onlookers. They are now asking questions. I wonder where he's going, or look at what he's wearing. How far is he going to get? These are all the questions they are asking. It's really that he is actually doing a job to get the onlooker or the or those people to begin to ask themselves those questions. He have left those questions with them by greeting them and saying good morning to you, or whatever it is, or how do you do, whatever it is that he meets or he encounters on his way. He is doing a wonderful job, and that's where he's doing his gypsy journey. But also the things that he observes on his way probes more question to get him to examine the real core of his state as he goes along. He is actually beginning as he walks because he's doing a journey. He pays attention to his feet when he's tired. So this is part of saying, well, does he say, I'm not the head, I'm not the feet, I am the head, and I'm going to leave my feet behind? No. He sits down, he rests, he takes his boots off, he rubs his shoes, or he finds a river or a little fountain of water. He drinks his hands, he gets in tune with himself. So this is the gypsy journey right there. Of course, there's a part of him that seemed very arrogant with the number 7, because it is very, I call it the arrogant number, because as he walks along, of course, that is like an elevation of his head. In fact, he's really in the 7, but his feet is going like an L, like the L of the 3 in the word let, and his head is like this. So he's really doing the Z at this stage. He's doing the letter Z, which is 8, and that's where he's moving. That's a form of eating of the fruit. Now, it may be a bitter fruit to some extent, but he is going along with it. He's digesting his thoughts, he's processing every step he's making, and he is doing 8. He probably has not realized he's doing 8, meaning it sounds like he's doing it, IT, you know, in this stage. But there he gets to, of course, the C. And this is another thing. We see IF here and IF here. Everything, there are ripples or layers of information, even in that word sacrifice, the way it's right there. Okay, so back to the number 8. Of course, he gets to wherever he goes. So if he was to be in a town, so to speak, the fool, as much as he's a fool and he thinks, okay, I want to hang around in this city for a couple of days. Yeah, he would have to learn who's in authority, or where is the town hall, who are the police, what are they dressed like, or they dress differently to the policemen in London or in Paris, and so on. He would get to affiliate with those in the headquarters to some extent, or make the decision not to, but in some way he would have to make there is a connection, or the decision not to make that connection with the headquarters. But of course, if you wanted to, as I say, hang around for a few days or something, he would need to know the laws of the place, or the rules to abide by, which is part of headquarters zone as well. Okay. And of course, we have 9. As we have seen, 9 is really that which gives you back. It's like what you put in is what you get. What goes around comes around. This kind of, this is almost beckoning, that kind of symbol. It's the new birth. It's the newness. It gives you an opportunity to see exactly what you have put in. So I think that that in itself is self-explanatory. And of course, it's really a beautiful journey. So when you do watch an introduction to Crime a Queen, of course you will understand that this part of the template had not been tampered with in any way whatsoever, and it's and of course, as I said, it would be interesting to see what message this was conveying. And we can see right now that this is where Mother Eve is really concerned with. Not also him, but Mother Eve is teaching us the twofold. There is twofold teachings right there, because there are people who are still in this sack stage, but she's also occupied with those who are dealing with the 5th and 8th dimension right here. Okay, so of course, as I say, at some stage I did say I feel that we were going to be left to see how we are going to behave in this fifth dimension, like children in a new playground, or just to see. It's like psychology, so observing children play. And that's what I think is happening here while we are on this gypsy journey. Yeah. Of course, as well, it is the number 7, the 7-year cycle as well. So that is a very interesting and exciting journey. So far, I have seen correlations, as I say, with the gods, how the gods marry together or work together, and they form nine sections. So the 5 gods actually, the 9 gods seem to, how would I put it, they partner with other gods of the 9 of the 9 gods in Genesis of chapter 1. So it'd be interesting as well to see how which I have seen, how all these 9 gods actually, they all have a numerical value of number 1, 2, 3, 4 to 9. And that is not just because I have numbered them, but when I've done the numerical value for the gods, say for instance the Set god is 6, the Soul god is 7, the and so on. But when I did this numerical value, I saw that I did gain numbers from 1 to 9 among the 14 gods. So that is really interesting, and there is much more correlations happening still. So if you are doubtful that the Bible is a mathematical construct that is meticulously written for those who are wanting to seek wisdom, this is the proof in itself. This is the proof in itself. So do follow me, or do join me. The word follow, I wish I could have another word. Join me is better. So do join me on further exploration of the gods. I'm still wanting to check or work on the position of the gods, which I've had a lapse, but I felt it was important for me to do this series of presentations before re-embarking on the position of the other gods. So thank you for joining us. I'm glad I'm able to say that in these 3 presentations I've done. Okay, so thank you. Let there be light, and there was light. Oh, this is the 3rd one. So Mother Eve have just stepped in with that number 3 I was talking about. Okay, and spill over with love.